Last week damaged homes and businesses all across East Texas, and power outages have also forced many people to throw out all the food in their refrigerators and their freezers. Damages and losses that may be covered by your insurance provider. From Chopper 7, the damage from last week's storms is easy to see. With immediate needs being met and the restoration of power underway, now comes the process of fixing the damage and recovering losses.
That is the first step that every property owner should take. If you have insurance, that is who you should make a claim to in order to determine whether or not they're going to be able to cover those losses that you've sustained.
Officials recommend reporting damage to your insurance agent as soon as possible to better understand what your policy covers.
Deductibles are the main thing. Know what you have, and you can adjust the deductibles. Higher the deductible, the lower your price is. Lower the deductible, the higher the price.
State Farm agent Thomas Perry also recommends getting bids from multiple contractors.
Have 2 or 3 roofers come out and look at it and give you an estimate before you file a claim, because if you've got a $3,000 deductible and the damage is $1,000, there's no use in filing a claim, and you don't want that on your record.
Insurance companies also want property owners to prevent further damage without making major repairs, like temporarily covering holes in your roof.
So temporary repairs are fine, and go ahead and save your receipts for plywood or tarp or whatever you had to buy to make those temporary repairs.
Also, don't toss damaged items like soaked furniture and rugs. Of course, get them out of the house to prevent mold, but keep them around until after your adjuster visit. Aside from property damage, many East Texans also had to toss spoiled food due to power outages, something that may be covered depending on your policy.
Yeah, a lot of insurance policies will cover that loss if the damage that turned off the lights was a covered loss. So if it's something like a windstorm or something in the area, that may be able to be covered. So just go ahead and take pictures of any of that food that you have to throw out and call your insurance company.
Now, when it comes to power companies reimbursing you for outage-related damages, SWEPCO tells us in general they are not responsible for damage caused by natural disasters.